High in the frozen Ural Mountains lies a place the locals call the Mountain of the Dead. Snow covers the slopes. Winds scream through the trees. For centuries, the mountain has been feared and avoided. In 1959, 9 hikers entered these icy hills. They were young, they were strong, they never returned. What rescuers found weeks later was beyond explanation. A torn tent, scattered bodies, and injuries that defied science. This is one of the darkest mysteries of the 20th century. This is the Dyatlov Pass mystery. The Dyatlov Pass mystery. 9 hikers who never returned. 9 young hikers began their winter expedition in the Ural Mountains. They carried skis. February 1959. The Soviet Union. They wore warm coats and boots. They brought food, journals, and a large tent. They wanted to complete a trek so difficult that it would give them the highest level of hiking certification. But these 9 hikers would never return. Weeks later, rescuers found a torn tent. Bodies were scattered across the snow. Some had strange, unexplainable injuries. One hiker was missing her tongue. This is the Dyatlov Pass mystery. The group was led by Igor Dyatlov, age 23, an engineering student. With him were 8 other men and women, most in their early 20s. They were strong. They were intelligent. They were trained for the harsh cold. The youngest, Yuri, felt sick during the trip and turned back. He survived only because of this decision. By chance, he became the only survivor. The other 9 pressed deeper into the snowy wilderness. They took photos. They wrote diary entries. They laughed, sang, and joked about the cold. Their spirits were high, but none of them imagined the fate that awaited them. The final night on February 1st, the hikers camped on the slope of a mountain called Kholat Syakhl. In the local Mansi language, it means mountain of the dead. The mountain was empty and windswept. They dug into the snow. They pitched their tent. They made dinner. They wrote in their diaries one last time. This was the final night they would ever spend alive. Something happened in the middle of the night. No one knows exactly what, but it was so sudden, so terrifying, that the hikers cut their way out of their own tent and fled into the freezing dark. They left their coats behind. They left their boots behind. Some wore only socks. Others wore only thin shirts. The outside temperature was minus 25 degrees Celsius. The Ural wind howled across the slopes. The search begins when the hikers failed to return. Search teams were sent out. On February 26th, rescuers found the tent. It was half buried in snow. Its canvas was slashed open from the inside. Inside the tent were boots, coats, gloves, all neatly arranged. It looked like the hikers had left in a hurry. Footprints led away from the tent. The tracks led into the forest below. The first body searchers followed the footprints. Near a cedar tree almost a mile from the tent, they made their first discovery. 2 bodies lay in the snow. They had no shoes. A small fire had been built nearby, but the fire had burned out. The branches of the cedar tree were broken as if someone had climbed it, perhaps to look back at the tent, or perhaps to escape from something. More discoveries. 3 more bodies were found between the cedar tree and the tent. They seemed to be crawling back toward camp. One of them was Igor Dyatlov, the leader. Another was face down in the snow, his arms stretched forward. The third lay nearby. Their positions showed desperation. They had tried to return, but failed. The missing 4 hikers were still missing. Weeks passed. Winter storms buried the forest in deep snow. Only in May, when the snow began to melt, did searchers make the final discovery. In a ravine hidden under ice, they found the last 4 bodies. Unlike the others, these hikers had suffered terrible injuries. 1 had a fractured skull. 2 had broken ribs. 1 woman was missing her tongue. The injuries were as strong as those from a car crash. But their skin was untouched. There were no cuts, no bruises, no bleeding. The strange evidence, the mystery deepened. Why did they flee their tent? Why were they half-dressed? Why had some of their clothes tested positive for radiation? Investigators reported more strange details. The tent had been cut from the inside. The footprints showed that the hikers had walked calmly at first, not running, not panicking. The official cause of death for 6 was hypothermia, but 3 had severe internal injuries. And the missing tongue was never explained. Theories: avalanche. One popular theory is an avalanche. Perhaps the hikers heard snow shifting. They thought their tent was about to be buried. They escaped quickly into the night, but experts said the slope was too shallow. No signs of avalanche were ever found. Military experiments, another theory, suggest secret military tests. In the 1950s, the Soviet Army tested parachute mines in the region. These blasts could crush bones without leaving wounds. Some locals reported glowing lights in the sky that night. Could the hikers have been victims of a secret weapon? Radiation traces of radiation were found on some of the clothing. Some believe the hikers came into contact with radioactive material, but no source was ever identified. Infrasound scientists have suggested a phenomenon called infrasound. Strong winds around the mountain may have created sound waves too low for humans to hear. These waves can cause panic, nausea, and fear. Perhaps the hikers were driven into irrational terror. Perhaps they fled into the night without knowing why. Mansi legends. The local Mansi people told stories about the mountain of the dead. They said the place was cursed, that spirits roamed the slopes. Could the hikers have angered something ancient? UFOs and the paranormal. Some theories go even further. UFO sightings, alien encounters, even government cover-ups. Strange lights in the sky were reported on the same night, but no hard evidence supports this. The official ruling in 2019, Russian investigators reopened the case. Their conclusion, avalanche. But many experts disagreed. They argued that the injuries, the tense condition, and the footprints did not match avalanche patterns. The Dyatlov Pass mystery, they said, remains unsolved. Legacy: 9 young hikers lost their lives. 9 families were left without answers. Their diaries show smiling faces. Their photos show joy and friendship. But their story ended in terror and cold silence. Even today, people travel to Dyatlov Pass. Some go to honor the dead. Others go to search for clues. The mountain still stands, quiet and indifferent. More than 60 years later, the Dyatlov Pass mystery continues to haunt. Conclusion: call to action. What do you think happened that night? Was it an avalanche? A secret weapon? Or something beyond our understanding? Share your theory in the comments. And if you enjoy mysteries and dark history, subscribe for more. Because this is only one of many stories that the past has left unsolved. Thank you for watching. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Till next video, enjoy your time with History Revealed channel.